Hi guys. Waiting for Bob to come on, but I thought I'd start and say hi. Hi Chew. Hi Grasshopper, Sky Dancer, Mike, Bob, and there's Bob. Hello.
Oh my God, I can't believe you brought all this crowd into my bathroom.
So, how's everyone doing?
That was a
Hi
cool stream.
Reels.
Cool stream Dan had.
Yeah, that was fun. Dance streams are always good.
Yep.
So now we're off to my stream. I don't have anything planned for tonight, but we can always look at art and talk about stuff if we run out of stuff to do.
No giveaway?
No, I should have had something ready for tonight, but I don't. I really, really need to do an auction. Hi, Nez. Because I have I'm almost out of water and I need some groceries, but I'll probably try to do, I think I've got 2 gallons of water left, which should get me through tomorrow. So I'll probably try to do sometime Friday, do a small auction stream. And then Saturday, I'm going to do a little bit bigger of an auction because I'm trying to raise some money to get the stuff I need to get my snake. Sneaky snake.
Poor old snake's 6 months older now.
But right now, I need to do something for water, and because I'm almost out of water, and I'm down to just having rice for groceries. So a few groceries and some water. So I'll probably I'll put some stuff probably tomorrow up on Patreon and give everybody that's on Patreon a chance first, and then I'll do a small auction sometime in the next couple of days.
Oh,
but tonight, I don't have anything ready because I've been working on bigger stuff. Hi, Jamie.
I can do an enveloping if you want in a little bit.
Yeah, you can do an enveloping.
An enveloping. You say enveloping, I say enveloping. Potato. Tomato. Tibby.
You need groceries too. You had tuna casserole for dinner. Tuna casserole would be good, but I don't have any noodles or tuna fish.
I love tuna casserole.
I have rice, and I think I have a couple packages of saltine crackers left. So until I do an auction, that's what I'm going to be eating. And being very careful with water because I'm almost out of water.
I did that a few months ago. I got down, for some reason, I just got down to nothing but 2 kinds of rice. And the one I made was pretty good. Pretty good.
It's going to be a really cold day tomorrow. We got like highs in the 30s and a low. I think they're saying 18 degrees for a low.
It's cold.
Yep.
It's
cold. I'm actually wearing a coat. For the last several years, my furnace hasn't worked for a while, but for the last several years, I've just had like a heater in the living room, an electric heater in the living room, an electric heater in the bathroom on the other end of the trailer, and it's done pretty good. But unfortunately, the one that I always plug in the bathroom quit working, so I'm just running one in the living room. So my house is staying about 55. So if you hear me sniffling a little bit, it's because I am getting a little bit of a cold.
Snorting there.
Yep, snorting away. So, what have you got going on tonight, Bob? Other than you have an envelope to open.
I'm looking for crickets and not finding any to feed these critters. I found some worms, though. That's about it.
Are you looking on your floor for crickets?
There's some around here because I hear them at night when I turn the lights out. But I can't. The cats get them pretty regular. So. Princess found her squeaky for you.
Yeah, she did, huh?
Pam wants to hear it. She's over there just seeing if you approve or no. Pam wants to hear it. Go ahead. Squeak it.
She
Oh.
is.
She's so smart. Now she.
Hey, Cat, how are you?
Hey, Cat.
Mods make nice kindling. That's true. I could burn some of my mods to keep my house warm. And hi, Sirloin.
If you want me to go ahead and open this, I will.
Yeah, you open that, and then I'll probably do some art stuff since I don't have anything fishy planned tonight.
I don't think there's
Hi.
There's probably nobody in here that doesn't have my
Sandy,
address.
hi.
Can you tell where it's from?
KBT. Oh, it's going to be from Rack.
Yep. You know, when he was on a couple of weeks ago, or maybe last week, on your thing. Oh, hell, he's taped it like you do. Look at this. See all that tape?
Yeah.
Somebody getting in that. Well, this may be, you can come back to me in about 20 minutes if you want. I got to find something to
I trained him well.
Apparently. Damn. What is it with you people with the here, I got it. You remember what it is? Are you still there? Guess not. Oh my gosh. All kinds of stuff in this. And I dropped some of it. Hold on.
No, I'm sure that it's in the stuff that I got yet to send Grasshopper because I have not been to town at all for like over a month. So I'm going to try to go tomorrow. I tried to go today. I was planning on going this morning. Oh, that's cool. I was going to go this morning, but I ended up not waking up until 3:45, which was 15 minutes before Bob's stream. Fossilized shark teeth, those are cool. But it just seems like one thing after another, and I haven't even left the house. So
he cleaned house.
I'm going to try tomorrow. And if I do, I will be sending you a tracking thing.
That means you want to get
tomorrow. Because even if I sleep in, I can still make it. But today I was going to go and I didn't have time.
This is not even the main thing still. I'm not sure how that goes. I have to have somebody that's intelligent in the chat. Mike, maybe. I don't know what that is. I'm not sure what that is. Got a hard piece.
It's better than rice. The Carver family, hello.
And the art, it says on the back, it's not signed, but it does say, send to Bob. It's personalized.
Very nice. I like that one.
So is Monty. I do too. That's the only piece of his I've got, you know.
GRB, hello.
You can take me down, damn it. Or you'll be sorry.
What are you doing? No, get out of there. You're such a crybaby. Oh, I gotta take Bob down. I got distracted.
You and Dan both. People weren't happy at the end. There's Dan Slee.
Yep.
Sorry, Dan. I would have said you if I was when I was looking for somebody intelligent earlier. Not over Mike, but
Your PJs are on backwards? Oh. Okay.
I've done that before with the long basketball shorts I wear all the time. Got out in public and my pockets were on backwards. I'd notice it.
Oh, one of the stupidest things I've done was when I was working, and it was winter time, so I always wore tights underneath of my work pants to keep warm. And I got to work and pulled into my parking spot and jumped out of the car and reached down to straighten my pants up and realized I'd forgot to put on my pants. I just had tights on. So I jumped back in my truck and was driving back home, and I was supposed to be at work, so I called and told my boss that I forgot something at home and I'd be right back. I forgot something important.
Yeah, clothes.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's me.
I've heard it before too, Dan, because I remember I told you that there was a girl I went to high school with, and the third time it happened, they figured out what she was doing. She was setting the house on fire, and then she'd run out naked, like the trash can. She'd start a fire in that, and when the fire people would come, the drapes would be, she really set her bedroom on fire. And she'd run out in her panties and bra. And the third time, they're like, no, this couldn't be happening this often.
That's kind of weird.
She's a nurse, as far as I know. She's probably retired now. Yep.
Wow, Dan, your hair must have been really long.
I can't believe your hair got that long, Dan. Because when I first started seeing you, pictures of you, you had short hair, medium short.
I remember, Sirloin helped me a lot the last stream. It's like, I haven't gotten anything from YouTube for the last 2 months, so I'm going to have a check at the end of next month, which is going to be so nice.
And you had your last haircut. Dan and I are very similar too in the fact that we both look many years younger than our stated ages. He does anyway. Buy some mod rice.
Buy some mod rice. Oh, I've got rice. That's one thing I do have is rice, so I won't be starving.
I have some that looks yellow. I don't know what it is.
I need to get some water because I actually don't have running water here, so I buy water and I need to get some water. Yeah, you have to reach $100 before YouTube will give you a check. So if you don't reach $100 in a month, you don't get a check. That's YouTube.
That's the way they do it. They always got something going on. I'm just going to turn off my camera so I can get up, since I don't have anything but this little shirt on. No, I'm teasing. But I want to check on my other snake. It's been hiding.
Yeah, YouTube, if people who don't have a channel don't know, YouTube takes like 30%, and you have to reach $100 before they'll actually send you a paycheck. But it is what it is. I always wait, speaking of what we were talking about earlier, one of my favorite things is when I hear somebody says or is looking for something, like a guy's looking for something and they say they can't find it. I always tell them to check and see if their pants are on backwards. Because I'm kind of mean. Well, should we do some art? Do you guys think? I can show you some artwork and tell you what it is and how I came about the pieces. Pass some time since I didn't get anything ready for tonight. So you can say yes or no in the chat.
Yes for me.
What'd you say, Bob?
Somebody type yes for me.
Okay. Cat says yes. And Dan says yes. I hope I don't bore people, but I will do it. People are probably just being polite, but you guys want to see? I'll tell you what. You guys want to see paintings or drawings?
Drawings.
Drawings? Okay. Let me find my drawings here. I've always got to look it up here. Star, what are you getting into? I know you're getting into something. I did some the other day, and I don't remember exactly where I left off at. Star, get out of there. I know you're getting into cat food. Okay. I guess we'll start about in the middle. We'll start right there.
Hold on a minute. Show you something cute. Can you blow me back up?
Yep.
I've been over here spraying water because she's been in that hide for 2 days. And look at that. Hey, girl, come on. You see her?
I don't see her.
What?
I'm looking.
You see the hide?
Yeah.
She's got her head sticking out about 3 inches.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I see her.
She's trying to decide if she's going to come out or not. Come on. Come on, they want to see you. Somebody in here said you were the... Oh, there she goes back. Girl, come here. This thing's hard to reach down in, too, because it's up so high. She's okay, anyway. I was going to try to feed her.
Good night, Sirloin. Thanks for stopping in.
She's the one that only has eaten live mice before. All right, you can take me down. Right, Princess? Take us down.
Okay, Nez says she's got a couple drawings to show, so
Awesome.
I'll put the link in the chat so that she can show her drawings before I start doing mine.
Cool. Coolies. Come on.
And if anybody else wants to come up and talk, you're always welcome to. I noticed Bob still hasn't fixed his camera.
Nope, because it can't be fixed. Who said that? Grasshopper?
Yep.
We'll knock him out. It's like a little stating the obvious, kind of. Well, since I'm not streaming now, I'll go on there and do what he said last time.
What's that?
I don't know, because I can't see it yet. It the stream earlier today, and you can't see the chat. Let's see if he types it in here. I'm thinking about keeping my camera turned off. I noticed, Bob.
Please eat yelling. Thanks, Sterling. I think I should barbecue him.
I bet he tastes like an opossum. No, because I didn't see that you had sent it till this stream started. But I'll go over there now and look. I'll be here, Pam. Don't
Okay.
worry.
I'm still waiting to see if
Nez
was going to come up.
Well, let's see. Oh, okay.
Yeah, meat with fat in it is always better than lean meat. Gives it more flavor.
That sounded all wrong.
Grasshopper says he sent it right after the stream ended.
Yeah, but I didn't know that till he mentioned it in this stream before you started. He thinks I don't have anything to do but look at things he sends me.
There's Nez.
All right.
Hello.
Hello, Punchy. Hello, everybody. And thanks again
I'm going to go ahead and blow you up so you can show us your art.
Give me just a moment. My light, I got to plug it in and get it all set up. I didn't know it was going to be here tonight.
Well, let me know when you're ready and I'll blow you up.
Yes, ma'am.
That did it.
I know what you mean. It's poor week. The week before payday is always the worst, man. I'm out of everything, and oh, my God. It just sucks. You know how it is. Trying to get my light to come on, and it's being problematic. Won't be able to see a bad darn thing if I don't get the light to turn on. Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
And you come up too, and you can, when she's done, you can show us what you got.
Okay. Now then, where is
Definitely.
the light?
Always
switch?
glad that you can.
Okay, I don't have a whole lot. I did 2 drawings this last weekend. I'll be participating in a dramatic reading of Jaws on my friend Scully's channel, Scully's House of Thrillers. He is an author and he reads to people. It's really ASMR and really relaxing.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
It's going to be lots of fun. People can check that out. I'll be doing a promo for that. I think we're performing it on Saturday night, November 5th. So if you're connected with me, watch for that promo. I get to be old Quint, the old sea dog, the one played by Robert Shaw. So, all right, I got my light turned on, and I'm going to be doing some artwork of more than this, a few more pieces to show during the intermission of the production. But I wanted to pop on real quick and show you. Here we're going to need a bigger boat. We got Captain Brody,
Nice.
portrayed by Roy Scheider. There he is. He's going,
That
oh my
sounds
God.
good.
Let me move
Dan
in.
said he can show some stuff.
Yep, I'm going to go to Dan as soon as Nez is done.
Well,
He's got his cigarette
Grasshopper,
there.
there's no link in there, Grasshopper. I just looked. That is nice. I like that.
Thank you so much. It really helps when you care about what you're painting or drawing, I love the movie, I love the actors, I love the characters. So that's one. And then the other one I've got done so far, I'll be doing more. But I got Richard Dreyfuss as the marine biologist Hooper.
Nice.
And that's him after he says, they're all gonna die. Let's move in so you can see his eyes there. There we go, old Richard Dreyfuss.
Looks
Back when
just
I was
like him,
a kid.
Cat says.
Thank you
It
so
does.
much. But I had to show you, Punchy. Thank you so much too. Thank you. But there you go. I'll get out of your hair, but I wanted to show you guys real quick. I'll be doing more Jaws art here coming up soon.
What is
Thank
that?
you.
What is that pencil? Is that pencil or charcoal
This
or what?
is charcoals and General's pastel pencils.
Nice.
I'm
So,
trying to get everything organized.
both those. It's
That was really good.
Strathmore,
When you back up a little bit, it really looks like him.
Strathmore mixed media paper. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's him going, oh my God, they're all going to die. One more look at Brody before I get out of here. Look at
Very
that.
good.
I like his cigarette. I like his cigarette in his teeth. There we go. All right. Well, I'll get out of your hair. Thanks for letting me
Thank
pop
you for
on here.
showing us those. Those are awesome.
Sure. More Jaws artwork to
Cool.
come. Thank you, guys. You have a good night. I love you, Punchy. Good night.
Good night. Okay, then we got some of Dan's stuff here.
I'm going to knock him out.
You might have to kick me out, Punchy. It's not letting me go.
It's not, you can never leave. There she went. I got it up, Dan, so you can say in the chat, and I'll read it since you don't have a mic. That is beautiful light. What is it? That's not an apple, is it? What is it?
Like a pear. Pear leaf. Oh, a lemon tree.
Oh, that's right. He's in California. That is really pretty.
Hey, Chew.
Oh, and that's a passion flower? Yep, passion flower. That is really pretty too.
Wish my screen would blow up.
I love how Dan captures the light with his photos. That's so pretty. Yep, Dan is in San Diego. Is that where you're at, Dan? Oh, that's pretty. Yeah, they are stunning, aren't they, Bunny? He does absolutely beautiful photography. San Jose, okay.
Do you know the way to San Jose? Hey, Bunny.
Ooh, nice.
Color saturation and that.
Yeah.
I guess that's the word I want. I don't know nothing about art, you know.
I love Dan's photography. Oh, isn't that
Yeah,
pretty?
I love this one. Yeah.
Yeah. The light and the color. Oh, beautiful.
Could talk about this forever. That one.
Yeah. There's the Halloween one. I like that. Now we know what happens to Dan's exes. Ooh, nice.
Oh, and a window. Yeah, that's like one of my top favorite 3 colors right there. Gorgeous. You know that snake with like the chocolate drops on it? That's what that purple, it's really purple. It'll turn light like that.
Wow. Oh, that one's pretty too.
Yeah, it is. I love the edges on the petal in the middle. Gorgeous.
Looks almost like a peace rose. I'm not sure. I'm not really up on the name of the roses. Sky Dancer just asked which kind it is too. Tropica. Oh, look at the colors in that one.
Yeah, he's got a really nice Instagram channel.
Yes, he does. I don't go on Instagram very often, but Dan's stuff is really nice. That looks pretty too. You can almost smell them. There's his Instagram, guys.
Yeah. Well, he's got a bunch of stuff on there. You must have to click on something. He's been putting stuff on there for a long time.
Oh, thank you, Dan. That was really cool.
All right,
Thank
I'm
you
going
for showing us.
to click on that link that thing put in there.
Okay.
Oh, no, it rolled up. I can't get to it now. Oh, well. I can't get to it right now. Scroll down, get it on YouTube.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, Dan. That was really nice. Okay, I guess I will put some of my art up, and everybody can ask me questions. And if there's any stories with the art, I'll tell them. Okay, so I got to keep going back and forth. So this is, of course, a little killdeer. This was just a real quick little drawing that I did in charcoal. When I was like sitting in my truck in Yellowstone watching this little guy, and I did this little drawing. So that's what it was. I think it was, if I remember right, it was about an 8 by 10. And like I say, it was in charcoal on kind of a light tan colored paper. I got to switch back and see if anybody has any questions before I switch to the new one.
How did you get it at that angle?
At that angle, it was just out in front of me.
Yeah, you said it was sitting in your truck. Okay.
Okay, now I can't get back to my StreamYard. Okay, well, I can just hope it's all still showing up because. Okay, there, I got StreamYard back up. Okay, so I'll go on to the next one. Do this. This
Yeah,
takes
that's
a
true,
second.
Dan.
Sorry. That was just a little Native American guy sitting on his daddy's shoulders at I believe that one was in Montana at a reenactment of Custer's Last Stand that they did. That's just in charcoal, and that there again, that was just a real quick little sketch. And some crows, and it's in charcoal, and these crows were sitting on the fence when I was working at the grizzly bear encounter place, the grizzly bear sanctuary. And I usually work like at the front gate, letting people in, and I would sit there sometimes with nothing to do for a long time, so I did little drawings while I was sitting there.
That reminds me of that raven that you did for Dan.
Yeah, yep. And this is a cougar, of course, or mountain lion, or whatever you want to call it. And it is on a piece of bark paper. And the bark, when you order the handmade bark paper, of course, they're all different. And instead of fighting the paper, I'll usually think of a drawing in my head to put on the paper. And this one had a lot of green in it, which I thought was kind of foresty looking. So I ended up doing this mountain lion on it, and it is in Conte crayon. Is what medium it is, and Conte crayon is kind of like a cross between a crayon and a pastel. You can't do a whole lot of blending with it, but you can do a little bit. And Conte crayon is one of the oldest mediums that there is. And that is a Swainson's hawk. And it is in charcoal. And I need to check and see if anybody's asking any questions. I have not, I've shared it before, but I think it's coming up here. Okay, so I'll go into the next one. That's not what I want to do. I've got to like shrink my internet so I can like switch pictures. So that's why it takes me a minute. There it is. Speaking of which, that is the raven that I did for Bob,
Yep.
for Dan.
Yep.
For Dan Slee. That's the one that he's got. And this guy was in Yellowstone Park. And I went there one day, and it was early in the spring. They just opened the park, and it was like really cold and half rain and half snow. And this guy was sitting on that log, and he looked miserable. He was all wet because, like I say, it was like half rain and half snow, and he did not look happy. And probably most of you know this, but the difference between a crow, like the crows I showed earlier, and a raven, well, they're really a lot bigger, but also the ravens have a lot bigger beak. Like they have a huge beak, whereas raven or crows have like a pointed type beak. So that's one of the ways that you can tell the difference when you see them out in the wild. But the ravens are also quite a lot bigger. But anyway, so that is the one that Dan was just asking if I'd shared yet. And that is it. Mr. Grumpy Pants. Yeah, he was very grumpy. He was not a happy camper. Okay, let me go to the next one. And this is Sheena Bear. And Sheena was in the bear sanctuary. She was one of the bears. I think she's still there, but she's getting really old. She was quite old when this drawing was done. And she is a grizzly bear from the lower 48, as opposed to most of the bears that they have there are actually brown bears, like from Alaska. But Sheena was a grizzly bear. And she was rescued when they got a call from the Fish and Game Department in Texas, and they had found some guy had 2 half-grown grizzly bears. I think they were like 3 years old at the time, and he had them in a 6-foot dog kennel, like completely covered like a cage. That was like 6 foot long and about 3 feet tall. And he had 2 grizzly bear cubs crammed into that little cage. And they went down and got him. And her sister was with her, but her sister died after about 2 years. She died of leukemia. And when I was last there, Sheena was like 22 years old, so if she's still alive, I haven't asked Amy. I'll have to ask her if Sheena's still there, but she was a very grumpy old lady, and she absolutely hated people, and that is totally understandable after how she was raised. But like Brutus and Sheena usually came out to play together, and Brutus loved people, and Sheena didn't like people, and Brutus would like be sitting there showing off and batting his eyelashes and stuff, and Sheena would be looking at him like he was out of his mind. And one time, I gotta tell you the guys this because I love Sheena, but one time they had like a large amount of people there. And I was sitting there watching him, and Brutus was showing off. He had a little barrel that they gave him to play with, and he was like clutching the barrel to him like a teddy bear and batting his eyelashes at everybody. And Sheena kind of walked out in front of everybody and like looked at the crowd and sat down and looked like she was going to pose, and then you could see it click in her head. No, I'm not going to do that. And she walked off, but you could see it so clearly what she was thinking. She was almost going to show off, but then at the last minute she decided, nope, not going to do it. Okay, I'll go on to the next one. Anyway, that one is also on the handmade bark paper, and it is charcoal.
I got my phone orientation unlocked finally.
Did you?
Yep. And the problem is it says on that first set of directions to go from the bottom edge of the phone, but when you get inside reading the directions, it says from the right upper corner. So once I did that, I could do it. Free at last. Thanks, Grasshopper.
Okay, this is just a really old, was from a really old
Downtown.
photograph. Probably it was in when I lived in the Dalles, so it's probably about 35 years ago or so. So the gear on the horses and stuff is old, like I'm sure different than it is now. But this was at the Dalles Rodeo, and it was just some horses that were tied up to the loading chute in the heat, awaiting their turn to do their thing. But it's also on a full sheet of bark papers, which is about 16 and a half by like 23, about 20, usually 23 or 24. The size always varies because of it being handmade paper. And it is Conte crayon also. Conte crayon, you can get it in all colors, but all I ever get is in browns and sepia tones because that's the kind of drawings that I do with it. So that's that one.
That horse on the right looks awful thin.
Well, yeah, they're working horses, and he's probably just built that way. Or he could also be young. Sometimes when they're younger, they look a little bit thinner too. And that is one of the grizzly bear cubs that they got. That is Bella. And Bella was rescued from Alaska. And Bella, they found her, that's charcoal on bark paper. And Bella, they found her, she was not very old, and she was up in a tree, and somebody spotted her in a tree. And the Fish and Game Department watched for like 4 days, and her mother never came back to get her. So they rescued her, and the people that own the sanctuary went up and got her. And she's still there for sure, because she's one of their attractions, their main attractions there now, because she's like a grown bear now. But yeah, she was a lot of fun. But the thing with Bella is when they got her, and I'm wondering if this has something to do with why her mom abandoned her, they learned real fast with Bella that they had to keep her from climbing because she would climb everything. And one night they heard a bunch of noise, and she was climbing on top of the other bears' cages. See, the way the sanctuary is set up is in the back. Each one of the bears has a very large cage with iron bars and everything, and a bed and their food and water and all that stuff. And then a couple times during the day, they have like a 2-acre big open area that they let them out to play with. The bears that get along with each other go out together to play. And anyway, Bella was on top of the cages, and she was walking the thin bar between, and there's no top on the cages. And she was walking around on the bars between Brutus and Sheena. And the thing is that Brutus, if she fell into his cage, he would have just loved it and been instant friends. But Sheena probably, in fact, Sheena no doubt would have killed her if she would have fallen into her cage. So they ended up having to get a vet out because they couldn't get her, and they had to get the vet out to shoot her with a tranquilizer so that they could get up and get her before she killed herself. But anyway, so that's Bella. She's quite the character. And that is a bighorn ram. And somebody, I think it was Phyllis, somebody in the fish fam bought this one. And it's charcoal on a ivory colored handmade bark paper.
Who the hell's Phyllis?
Oh, I can't remember her last name now. She used to come in here all the time, but she bought this one.
I thought Maria had that one.
No, not this one. She's got several bighorns, but she doesn't have this one.
Okay.
This one was a big drawing. And I don't remember the exact size, but it was pretty good sized.
I think you're tripping. There's no Phyllis.
Yeah, there was. So anyway, that was charcoal. And this guy was on the way to Yellowstone Park. I spotted a herd, and it was breeding season. And the big bucks, or big rams, I guess that's bighorn sheep, but rams. The rams usually aren't with the herds. They go off like in groups by themselves all summer long and stuff. But when fall hits, when it gets close to breeding season, they come down and join the ewes. And this guy had himself a ewe all picked out. And when I pulled up and stopped, he was giving me the evil eye to see if I was going to challenge him to his lady friend.
Did you?
No. And this is a really, really, really old drawing and photograph. I think it was like a photograph. It was before computers, and I just scanned the snapshot that I'd taken of him and scanned it onto my computer. But it's a little golden retriever pup that a friend had, and he was a cutie pie. Eck, I don't like that one. That dog was a commission, and I had just had a little tiny snapshot to work from, and they were happy with it, but I hated it. And this is some calves during a branding. They were all huddled up together, waiting their turn to get branded at the fire. And it is also charcoal on a piece of handmade bark paper, and I did a giveaway on this one. This one was a giveaway, and Just Shrimp Granny won it. And then she asked me if it would hurt my feelings if she gave it to her mom for Christmas, because her mom absolutely fell in love with it. So she ended up giving it to her mom for Christmas.
Did it hurt your feelings?
Nah. She'd been telling me for months before then that every time her mom came over, she tried to claim it. So, oh, and this is from the Native American dances at the Crow Indian Reservation in Montana. And don't ask me what tribe this little kid was in, because I don't know. There was about 5 different tribes there that were dancing. So, but it's charcoal on bark paper. And this was one of those drawings that was sold as soon as I finished it. It went really fast. And that is another one of the really, really, really old ones from when I was in my 20s of a buffalo. With his shed hanging off of him. So the photograph's really crappy because I didn't have a good camera then. And this is a team roper and a horse's butt, because you know damn good well I love the horse's butts.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I don't remember if I still have this one or not. I might still have this one. I should put it on auction if I do.
Yeah.
I don't remember if I still have this one or if I sold it already. I'll have to look. I don't think I have it anymore. Huh. Now I'm curious. This is another really old drawing, so the photograph of it isn't very good. And it was a horse all decked out for the parade pulling a wagon. It was in the Dalles. And this is one of the drawings I had after an art show. I had a couple call me, and they said that they represented artists from all over, and they asked me if they could represent me. And like what they did was like take your work and show it to art collectors and stuff. So I gave them this one and another one, and they ghosted me.
Never heard from them again.
Never heard from them again, wouldn't answer the phone. So they got 2 really nice framed drawings from me and just kept them. And actually, I know that they sold them, but I never got any money, never got nothing. They never contacted me again. I couldn't get a hold of them ever again. So yeah, they stole them from me. And this was one of them.
No,
And the other one was, I know I showed it one night, was a drawing of a old guy in a pitchfork from the back. And one time I was watching, PBS I happened to run across that PBS had a show about art collectors. And they were talking to this one huge Western art collector. And over their shoulder, I saw my drawing of the old man in the pitchfork when they were interviewing this guy. So that just kind of pissed me off a little bit. But it wasn't the guy. It wasn't the collector's fault. It was those people that stole the drawings and sold them. So that pretty much sucked, because just the framing alone was like $200 for each of the drawings, because they were custom framed and everything. So yeah, that pretty much sucked. Oops, that's another picture of it. And that's just a mule-deer buck. And that is a chickadee. And that was in colored pencil on a little piece of pastel paper. And it's not a real good picture of it, but it is what it is.
You still got that?
Nope, that one was sold right away. Oh, there's another picture of it there, and for the ones that was framed. And that's one that you got, Bob.
Yep.
That one's called Cody and Company, and it was a commission I did of a little boy on his ranch with a calf, feeding it a Sprite. And I still have some prints of this one, but they're in my storage unit in Cheyenne, so I can't get to them. And I gave away all the prints that I had here of him. So
I think that was.
One day when I can get to my storage unit, I'll have some more of these.
I think that's like a 9x12. It's big.
Yeah.
It's in my bookcase hidden over there.
Yep. And I've got, like I said, I've still got some more of the limited edition prints of it, but I can't get to them right now because they're in my storage in Cheyenne, and my truck's not running. So there you go. This was a commission I did for my favorite aunt, and it was of a little poodle that she had. And if you look at it, you don't spot it right away, but if you look at it, it was a charcoal, and the photograph is really crappy, but with his ears and everything, he's in the shape of a heart. Did you notice that, Bob?
Yeah, now that you said that, yeah.
And this is my daughter Courtney when she was little. I don't remember her exact age, but she's wearing diapers underneath of her jeans, so she was probably less than 2 years old. And our mama cat. And mama cat was very patient with the kids. As you can see how kids carry cats, and a lot of cats wouldn't put up with that. If you tried that with Mario, you'd lose your face. But mama cat was really patient with the kids. So, and it is in Conte crayon on a piece of papyrus paper, which is what I used to do once in a while before I found the bark paper. Because I used to, like, every time I ordered supplies, I would try out 2 or 3 different types of paper that I'd never tried before. And they had this papyrus paper, so I tried it and did some drawings on it. And then once I found the bark paper, I just order that now because I absolutely love the bark paper. It's my favorite thing to draw on, even though it is a pain in the butt. And that was a commission of a Samoyed. Yeah, that's a crappy photograph, but yeah.
Those used to be real popular.
And that was a little boy that was, this is like another one that's like a really old drawing that I had to scan onto the computer to save it. And it is, was a little boy that was playing underneath the chutes at the rodeo. He was playing in the dirt with his daddy's hat on. And it was a charcoal drawing. You can see a little toy truck. See the little toy truck there. And that is another drawing of him, actually. And it was also charcoal. And like I say, excuse the really crappy photographs because it's hard to. It's just like one of those little throwaway cameras that they used to sell many years ago, and then I scanned the print onto the computer. Oops. And that is a young colt that a friend of mine had. And that is also one of the really, really old ones that was scanned onto the computer, and it was Conte crayon on white paper. And that is a doe on bark paper and charcoal. And that was when I lived in Livingston, and I was just driving around the back roads looking for animals, which I used to do a lot. And she was eating and turned her head to look at me, so. And that is an owl that I did for somebody. That's with ink pens, like Sharpies. And I did it. He had a drum, like one of the drums that you just hold and pound on, and wanted a drawing on it of an owl, so I did that for him. It's actually on a drum, on top of a drum. And this is one of the really old ones that got scanned on the computer, and the print got some water spots on it. The drawing did not have these big blotches on it. But this one was titled Easter Morning because there was, when I lived in the Dalles, there was somebody had like a herd of about 20 Appaloosas in this big field, and I would drive there once in a while to check and see. And one morning I got there, and this mare had her brand new baby, and it just happened to be Easter morning. So the title of this one is Easter Morning, and it is also in Conte crayon. And that is Emmett. And that one was also just scanned onto the computer, so it's not a really good photo. But it was charcoal, and this was from a branding that I went to. And there was this little kid there, and he was a short little guy. He was probably about 5 or 6 years old, and he could ride like an adult. I mean, he was roping the calves and stuff. but he could also cuss like you would not believe the stuff that came out of that kid's mouth. But he'd be all grown up now because that was quite a few years ago. But he was roping calves and hauling them to the fire to get branded. And that is a drawing that I did of one of my cousin's dogs, and it's charcoal on the bark paper. And she was a lab, and I should check the chat because I haven't been there for a little while.
Getting you some art, are you, Grasshopper?
A doe, a deer, a female deer. Yeah, yeah. And no, the storage unit that I have in Cheyenne is not climate controlled, but it's pretty dry over there, so I'm not too worried about it. I mean, there's not a lot of humidity in the air or anything. Okay, so we'll go back and do another one. And that is Bella when she was little. And Bella is another bear that they had at the bear sanctuary. That is Conte crayon on bark paper. And that was her first snow. So that's the title of the drawing, was First Snow. And I made a bunch of prints of this and sold them out really fast. Sorry, guys. But this one sold out really fast. I could probably do another. Those were limited edition prints, but I could probably do a smaller print. Limited edition print someday of it. But, yeah. Bella was found up in Alaska, and she was in like somebody's meat house where they hang up their meat in the winter. And they found this little grizzly bear cub in there, and she was almost starved to death. And the people from the sanctuary went up to get her. Her mother had abandoned her for some reason, and I have my suspicions, but she was brought to the sanctuary, and this was her first snow day, and she was quite the character. But when she was about 3 years old, they always put her out with Brutus, because Brutus and her loved to play. Brutus just absolutely loved her. And then one day she turned around and attacked Brutus. And they ended up having to, Brutus was so confused. I mean, she seriously attacked him. And he was really confused. And after about 5 minutes, she quit and just went back to her normal self. And they'd been trying to train her to do commercials and stuff like Brutus did. Brutus was in movies and on commercials and all kinds of stuff, but they tried to get her to do it, but she would have these, even when she was a cub, she would have these times when she would just like turn really mean, so she was not dependable, so they ended up giving up on it because it was kind of strange. But anyway, after she attacked Brutus like that, they had a vet come check her out, and he said he didn't know what was wrong with her, but he suggested that they take her to the college in Washington State has a MRI big enough to put animals through. So they loaded her up in a trailer and took her to Washington and got an MRI done, and it turns out that she had 2 brain tumors, one on each side of her brain.
Oh, no.
And they were cancerous, and there was nothing that could be done except just keep her comfortable. So they brought her back home, and she died about a week later. and Brutus's heart was broken. They left her in the trailer and hand fed her and stuff. And Brutus would just sit up on a hill to where he could see into the parking lot, and he would sit there and just stare at the trailer, looking all sad because he knew she was in there. But anyway, yeah, so she passed. And personally, my opinion on that is I think that she was probably born with them, and that's why her mother abandoned her.
Yeah.
Because animals know when there's something wrong with their offspring, and
Yeah.
they will abandon them. And that's just my opinion because nobody knows for sure, but that's my opinion as to possibly why she was abandoned like that. No, the prints don't really do anything. Oh man, I sold this drawing so fast, Dan. I mean, I sold this drawing really fast. One of the reasons that I did it is because a friend of mine that bought quite a bit of my art told me, because I was talking about how cute she was in the snow and I should do a drawing of her, and he told me that I would never be able to carry off the snow in the drawing, which is like throwing a red flag in front of my face. So what did I do? The next drawing I did was in the snow, which I think the snow looks like snow. So yeah, if you ever want me to,
It's very real how it's.
tell me not to.
It looks very realistic when it's on her fur, especially.
Okay, I still have some of the papyrus paper, Dan. I'll probably be doing another drawing on it sometime. It's very delicate though. It's like really delicate. Okay. On to the next one. This was Winster. It's a baby cottontail. Winston, that was his name, Winston. My daughter named him. This was, this is a charcoal drawing on bark paper, and it's a baby cottontail with his little short ears inside of a clay pot. And Winston came about, I have quite a few drawings of him, and I might even do some more sometime. He was, I had taken Buddy to the dog park, and just when we got there, the skies opened up and thunderstorm hit, and it was pouring down rain. And I heard this squealing noise, and this little baby rabbit came running out of the brush and ran up between my feet, like stopped right between my feet, and was trying to cover himself up with the bottom of my pants. So I scooped him up and took him home, and me and my daughter raised him for about another month until he was big enough to let go. But I didn't take him back to the dog park. I took him out to the country to a place that had, there was a nice stream there, and a lot of grass and a lot of brush, a lot of trees and brush for hiding, because bunnies are on the bottom of the food chain. So I found a good spot for him, and hopefully he lived out his life. And that is another drawing of Bella, and that's one that Terry ended up with. And it's charcoal on bark paper.
Who did?
Terry.
Oh, okay. Yeah. He's real happy with it too.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him in forever.
I haven't either. He might be working a lot. He was for a while, like working, and we barely saw him. And then he was around for a while. Now he's disappeared again. So he might be working a lot of hours again.
Like for weeks, I mean.
And this is a red-tailed hawk in Conte crayon on bark paper. And this is the hawk that I know I've told this story before with another drawing of it, but this was on Cape Cod. And I had gone to visit a friend that was at the assisted living place, and they had like a huge golf course and trees and all that kind of stuff. And I turned into the driveway, and there was a red-tailed hawk underneath of a tree eating a snake.
What?
So I pulled off on the shoulder of the road, and I didn't want to spook it because hawks spook really easily. They're hard to get good photographs of those hawks in the wild. So I just unrolled the passenger window, and this was before digital, so it was on regular film. So I had my camera, and I zoomed in on him and started snapping pictures. And it was really funny because every picture that I snapped, he was really curious. His head would come up and he would hop closer to me and staring at the car, and I kept like taking pictures, and he kept hopping closer and closer and closer. And I had pulled off right beside a big cement thing that was their water system thing with controls and stuff. Anyway, he ended up jumping up on top of that to where he was like inches from the open passenger window of the car. And this is from when he was like staring at me from on top of that cement block. I mean, he was like really glaring at me. It almost scared me. I was like, if I snap another picture, is he going to jump into the car with me? But yeah, so that's a red-tailed hawk.
Where's the snake at?
It's not in. He was eating the snake. He left it underneath the tree.
Oh.
So, and this is a commission that I did of a lady with her 3 calves. She bottle fed these 3 calves and raised them, and they would be out in the field with like 100 other cows. And when she called their names, they would come running to her. So they thought she was mom. And this is a heron, and it is in colored pencil on the bark paper. And this was sold to somebody in the fish fam too. Geek Boy, I remember right, has this one.
That looks familiar.
Yeah, this one I like auctioned off on a live stream.
I might have that. I'm not sure.
I think Geek Boy has this one. And this is
More horse butts.
more horse butts, yeah. And it was brown pencils and charcoal on just a piece of drawing paper. And this one, a friend of mine in Wyoming bought this one after I finished it. And this was from a horse roundup in Gardner, which is one of the gateways into Yellowstone Park. Once a year, they have a rancher that herds his horses through town and up the hill into to their summer pasture. So this was from that. They like had them in a big corral while they were waiting to shut off the streets and everything, because they block off all the streets and stuff so he could take them through the middle of town. And in the meantime, they were just in this big corral, and they're just nothing special horses. There was in fact, there was even a half zebra there. And most of the horses were just irregular, typical, real ugly horses. But I love drawing horses' butts, so there you go. Horses' butts for everybody. And this is a little Native American boy that was at the dances, same dances as the other kid was. And this was the first drawing that I ever did on the bark paper. And it is done in charcoal. And I had tried to do this drawing, I tried him first on a regular sheet of white drawing paper, and I got like 4 days into it and I didn't like it, so I threw it away and forgot about it. And then when I ordered, this was the first piece of bark paper that I got, because like I say, when I ordered paper, I'd always get different kinds to try out. So I thought I'd try out a piece of bark paper, and I was like staring at the bark. It's on a full sheet too. And I was staring at the bark paper, trying to decide what I could do with it. And in my mind, I just saw that Indian boy on it, and I thought he worked out pretty well on it. So that's how that drawing came about. So I ended up doing the drawing again, but on the bark paper. And that's just a bighorn sheep and a ewe. I don't really like that one, but it's on bark paper, and it's Conte crayon. Oh, and that's that same little boy again. And this one, I believe Zen Ginger bought this one. It is a, help me out, guys. I auctioned this one off on my stream. It's a, Fisher. It's a Fisher.
Yeah.
No, that hot picture's sold. All of these that I'm showing you are sold, but I have no doubt I'll be doing more hawks because I love doing hawks. No, it's a, what are they called? Tree fisher? Martin. Oh my God, yeah, it's a martin, not a fisher. You're right. Yep, it's a martin, a tree martin. See, I always forget. It's a baby one.
Wonder what they're related to.
Tree martin. Martian. It's a Martian, yeah. Anyway, yeah, it's charcoal on, I think I did that one on bark paper. I might have done it on gray paper. I don't remember. A martin, yep. My bad. Every time, I always have trouble remembering what it's called every time I pull up that picture. And this is a buffalo with a newborn calf, and it's charcoal on a piece of bark paper. And it was fun to do. They call the newborn calves are like a red, like a, I don't know what color of red to call it. They're just really red. And the Indians called them red dogs, so I've always called them red dogs. The little baby buffalo.
Oh, good night, Dan.
Oh, who's going to bed?
Dan.
Good night, Dan. I'm going to take a little break and have a cigarette and just leave this up here and see what everybody else has going on. Yeah, I did some, a lot of people in the fish fam got a little print of it because I gave a bunch of them away that were just little card-sized prints. So a lot of the fish fam got them because I did like, for about 3 weeks straight, I was giving them away. I think I gave away like about 40 of them. So I think Bob has one too.
Yeah.
So I'm going to shrink this down for a bit and take a break. And probably people are bored of looking at the art anyway. So I'm going to pull us back up, Bob.
I've got my camera off. Feeding reptiles.
That's not what I want to do. Let's try this. There we go. You're feeding reptiles?
Yeah.
If anybody wants to come up and talk about something fish related or anything, I'll put the link in the chat again. And what time is it? Oh, we've only got like about half an hour, and the 2 hours will be over. So I hope I'm not boring everybody to death. There's only 8 people watching, so I think a lot of people left. uh, so if anybody wants to come up, you're welcome to. Should I keep going?
The people that matter stuck around.
Yeah. Okay, I might as well keep going unless somebody wants to come up.
They can still come up.
This is Josh's dad, drawing that I did for Josh from Aquamate. This is a drawing I did of his dad for him in charcoal. And that is a drawing of my youngest daughter and a little sparrow that she's drying off with a towel. And this was on Cape Cod, and we had a fish pond, and this little baby sparrow had fallen into the pond, and luckily I caught him before he drowned. So I fished him out, and he was all soaking wet, and Megan real carefully dried him off, and then he sat on her shoulder for about half an hour until he was totally dry, and then he flew off. I think he was just learning how to fly and ended up inside the pond. So he made it. And this drawing I was going to give to her because I gave each of my kids but her a drawing of themselves. And I was going to give this one to her, and she didn't like it. She hated it. So I put it in an art gallery on Cape Cod, and it sold. And then she told me she wanted it. I was like, God damn it. So someday I'll have to do another drawing.
Oh.
And this is a little bulldog guy in charcoal. And he was at the Massachusetts County Fair. And he was like tied up outside of the horse barn. And I found out the next year when I went that he was actually the mascot for a beer company that had a draft horses and wagon. Not the like the Budweiser does, but it was a smaller company. But they had a team of draft horses that pulled a wagon through the parade, and he was their mascot. And anyway, he was laying outside, and he was so bored. And he was close to the sidewalk, and he just like was laying there with his head on the ground. And every time somebody walked by, he wouldn't raise his head, but he'd kind of roll his eyes and watch him walk by. So I kind of fell in love with him and had to draw him. And I entered it in a show for a huge art club that's in Rhode Island. And he sold. The drawing sold, and the art club sent me a photograph of the guy at the gallery that bought the drawing, and he had a bulldog that looked really close to him. So that's why he bought the drawing. But yeah, it was a fun drawing to do. And this is another drawing of Bella, whom I already talked about. Bella's a climber. Like I say, she wanted to climb everything and wouldn't come down. And I have this theory that the reason that her mother abandoned her is because she wouldn't come down out of the tree. Yeah. Because she was kind of a little shit. But she did love to climb. Oh, that's the hawk again. This is a I don't know the breed of this sheep, but it's from Ireland. it was a commission from a lady that had gone to Ireland. So I did the drawing for her, but yeah, I don't know what breed it is or anything. It's some old breed of sheep from Ireland. And it's charcoal.
That's cool. Cool looking.
And I had a few prints of this that I gave away during my live streams at different times. Some prints. I've given away a lot of art, guys. You
Yeah.
have no idea how much art I've given away in the last couple of years. Oh, come on. There we go. I think I talked about this one before, but I'll tell you a little bit about it. This is Iron Mountain, and it is one of the first colored pencils that I ever did. And it was a big drawing, and this is one of them that's like a old drawing where I had to scan the print of it onto the computer. But like I say, it was one of the first colored pencils that I ever did. And I took it to a big art show in Ellensburg and had it hanging up in my room there. And these rodeo cowboys came in because they have a big rodeo at the same weekend that they have the art show. And I didn't have a name for it. I hadn't named it anything. And these rodeo cowboys came in and recognized the horse, which I thought was pretty cool. And they told me that the horse's name was Iron Mountain. So that's how the drawing got the name Iron Mountain. And I also entered this in a show in Portland. I can't remember the name of it, but I entered it in a show in Portland, Oregon. That was it was a pretty big show. But I got I was fairly young then, and I got a prize for being the top person, like top new coming artist or something like that. I forget. But I did win something with it, so.
Oh, that's cool, Mike. Said they had the Budweiser draft team in town a couple of weeks ago.
Oh my gosh, I love the Budweiser team.
I saw a detailed video about that maybe a year ago about how the prep and all that goes into bringing them in and all that. It's a big thing.
Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Get back on the, where was I at? Up, right there. Okay. That's a drawing of one of my neighbor kids when I lived in Washington. He was a grandson of some ranchers there. His name was Jason. And,
I don't see a picture.
oh, I bet you when I did that, I have to do it over again. Just hang on. Because I accidentally clicked out of it, so it, like, probably shut it off. Yep, okay. Hang on, I'll get it up again. Where are we at? Okay, share screen. Thank you for saying that, Bob. I would have forgotten. Everybody probably would have just sat there and not said a thing. Oh, anyway, that was Jason, and he was, I'm trying to look for the word. He was kind of cocky and pretty full of himself, but he was a pretty good little cowboy.
Shit kicker.
Yeah, shit kicker. But he ended up, when he grew up, he went to college on a rodeo scholarship because he was a really good team roper, and he did pretty well for himself with that.
I didn't know they had such a thing.
Yeah, they do. Probably mostly in the western states, so. And that is I'm gonna leave that for a minute while I check the chat and stuff. That's a drawing of my oldest daughter, Jessica, and some puppies that we had. And the puppies, we had a Springer Spaniel and she was in heat, and we had her in a dog pen that we had in the backyard that had 6-foot high wire around it, wire fence around it. And this damn wire-haired pointer jumped that 6-foot fence to get in with her and breed her. So she had 2 litters of puppies, but this was from the first litter of puppies because he did it twice. The same dog did it twice. But we gave them away, but they went really fast because it was 2 breeds of bird dogs. But yeah, that when I took her in the vet, they checked to make sure everything was going good and stuff. And I told her what happened. The vet told me that they had boarded that dog, that male dog, that wire-haired pointer. They had boarded him one weekend, and he got out of his cage and jumped through their plate glass window to get out. So they knew the dog well. Oh, okay, I'm going to check the chat and stuff here. Hang on. Oh, the Clydesdales. The first time I ever saw, and you guys are going to probably laugh at this, the first time I ever saw the Budweiser Clydesdale team, and they were, it was before, it wasn't even during the parade. They just came to town and did it just by themselves, and I went down to see them. And I was sitting on the side of the road waiting, and they started playing the music, and I saw them coming down the road. And I have to tell you guys, I started crying. Just because they were so beautiful. I couldn't help myself. I stood there crying watching them because they were just so beautiful.
I'm going to be sorry saying that in front of Mike.
Oh yeah, I probably shouldn't have said that in front of Mike.
No.
But he's the one. He said he got to see. Did you get tears in your eyes when you saw the team? Mike, tell us the truth. Tell us the truth. I bet you got tears in your eyes.
Budweiser says it all.
Oh hush. And that was a little drawing of Brutus. I used to sit when I was volunteering at the bear place. I would sit and do little sketches and stuff, and then put them in their gift shop and sell them. So that was one of those. I think it was like 5x7 or something like that. But that's what I did while I was sitting and didn't have any customers coming in. I would sit and draw. And that is Bella. Also charcoal. And that is Jakey and I forgot the female's name. But they always went out and played together. And in the 2-acre place where they'd play, there was a couple big ponds that they could swim in. So yeah. They were swimming in the pond and playing. And then they have there's 2 acres that's got a couple ponds and trees and rocks, and they have all kinds of stuff to play with and stuff. And then there's a deep moat that they can't get. If they fall into it, they're stuck. They have to get tranquilized and hauled out with a cat. But at the edge of that, there's a strand of barbed wire fence so that they know that they aren't supposed to go past that point and fall into the moat. But then there's overlooking it, there's a viewing area that all the people can stand there and watch, and you're actually really close to the bears. But there's a moat in between you and them, so they can't get out and hurt anybody. And that is Jakey, and that's on bark paper. And Jakey, he was my favorite bear. He was dumber than a rock. I mean, bears are pretty smart, but Jakey wasn't real bright.
He looks like he's dumb. He's got an expression.
He was beautiful, though. I mean, he was a beautiful bear, but not real smart. And I guess last year they had to put Jakey down, which made me really sad. but he had dyslexia like dogs get. And when it got to the point where he couldn't stand up anymore, they had to get the vet out and have him put down.
Yeah.
So bears get all kinds of stuff too. And he was rescued with him and the bear that he was playing with. And God dang, her name just slipped my mind. But he was rescued. He was on the East Coast somewhere. And there again, the Fish and Game Department found him. Somebody had these two bears in their backyard in a dog kennel, but not like a dog cage like Sheena came out of, but like a regular dog run type thing. But they aren't allowed to keep bears like that. So they had what did they give them? 4 days. They had 4 days, and then they were going to put them down. And the bear sanctuary didn't have any room. They were out of cages for the bears. And they got a bunch of volunteers came in and built a new building with 2 new cages in it. In 2 days, they put it up. They had it up and ready, and they went and picked them up and rescued them. But that was pretty amazing how fast they put the new pins up for them. And that is Bella. And a lot of people have a print card that I've sent out that I've given away of her. And that was a friend of mine that was the foreman of a ranch. And again, a really crappy picture of it, but it was in colored pencil. And it was a pretty big drawing. But again, that's an old one that got scanned onto the computer from the print. And that is Brutus in the pond showing off. And you know who has this drawing? This was a charcoal drawing. It was like a 9x12.
Jess.
No, Candy.
Oh, okay.
Candy has this one.
Ooh.
And that's that same drawing again. That's a wolf. A wolf from Yellowstone. And I did it on the bark paper. It's a white wolf. Bigger picture of him. I'm going to stop here for a second and check chat.
It's just grasshopper harassing Mike.
Oh, Dr. X, hello. We aren't really doing too much exciting. We're just looking at some of my artwork and telling stories about it. Oh, yeah, I love the bark paper. The thing with the bark paper, like I say, you can't fight it. And it will have parts of it that are really slick and hard to get anything to stick to. And it'll have dark parts of the paper that you've got to, like, work with and stuff. So I don't, like, just randomly grab a piece of bark paper and draw something on it and try to make it work. I'll sit there and go through every piece of bark paper to find one that works, or sometimes I'll sit there and stare at the bark paper until a drawing comes to mind that fits onto the bark paper. So it's kind of like difficult in that way. And a lot of other artists have asked me what kind of paper it is, and I've told them, but you've got to have a lot of patience to work with it. And I've never seen anybody else work with it, even though I've told probably 100 artists what kind of paper it is. But I think people get it and try it and realize that it's hard to work with, because, like I say, there'll be hard, slick areas, and there'll also be areas that are so soft that if you aren't really careful, you'll tear a hole in the paper. You can't put very much pressure on it at all. So yeah, it's like you've got to work with the paper. And sometimes the drawing will change slightly because of working with the paper and running into an area that I have to be real careful in. So
Well, what's the advantage of using bark paper then?
I love the texture and the look of it and fitting the drawings onto it. I mean, you know, I mean, think of that drawing on a piece of white paper. It wouldn't be the same at all. And like I said, every piece is different, which makes it fun too. And sometimes sometimes it just works out so well for a particular drawing that, yeah, it's just fun to work with. Yeah, poor Grasshopper. He's stuck with a picture of me because he was playing around putting my picture on his profile, and now he has to wait 30 days before he can change it again.
That'll teach you.
Poor guy. And that was a commission. And it is it's charcoal on a piece of ivory bark paper. And that is a commission that I did of Marmaduke. And he was a very beautiful boxer. And it is charcoal. And that was a huge drawing. It wasn't on bark paper, and it was like, I don't remember the exact dimensions, but it was really big. And that is a couple rams, because they're another subject that I really like to do. I love their horns. Oh, that's another oldie. It was the pickup man at a rodeo sitting on his horse. Oh, and that was a calf roper guy, another really, really old drawing that was just scanned onto the computer. Oh, and that's another really old drawing that was just scanned on the computer, and that was charcoal. And that was Bonnie and Clyde, a pair of draft horses that were in the parade when I lived in the Dalles in Oregon. And that is a friend of mine playing fiddle. And that one is charcoal. And that is Emmett again, the little foul mouse kid.
Yeah.
And here he was, he would climb up on the fence. This was after lunch, and he was going to go back to work. And he was so short and such a little, he was young too, and really short. And he'd climb up on the fence and then jump onto his horse from the fence. And this drawing, it was entered in the Ellensburg Art Show. And this is the one, remember I told you the story about the painting of the horses? Twilight with the light on them, and how everybody in the room thought that I had a light behind the painting.
Oh, yeah.
And the other artists got mad because it wasn't accepted into the show and went down to talk to the people that ran the show. And this was a drawing that was accepted into the show instead of the oil painting, because I was getting pretty well known for my charcoal, so they didn't take the oil painting, and the other artists were all upset because they said the painting should have been in the show. So anyway, yeah, this is the drawing that got into the show that year. And that is just a mule deer buck. And that's a commission of a friend's dog named Murphy. And it's a really crappy photograph of it, but that happens. And it was charcoal on bark paper. And I believe that is Bella when she was getting a little bit older. And that was just one of the little quick drawings that I would do while I was sitting there manning the entryway. There's the other drawing that was stolen from me by those people.
Yeah. That sucks.
And you might have heard this story before because I know I've told it before, but this drawing was really funny because I always I had a good camera and it was film days. And I always, instead of taking like print film, I would use slide film for a couple of reasons. And then if I wanted to use a photograph for reference, I'd just get a print made from the slide. But I've still got boxes and boxes of slides. But it made it easier because, number one, at that time, whenever you entered an art show, the entry, you had to send them a slide with the dimensions and all that stuff written on the slide, and rules. But submission was always by slides, so I always took slides. And the other reason for reference photos using the slides instead of print was because then I didn't have, if I wanted to get like a print made to work from, I didn't have to dig up a negative because the slide is the negative. But the thing is I didn't have a slide projector. I just hold them up to the light and look at them. And I'd gotten back a box of slides, and I was sitting at the table with my mother-in-law, and I was looking through the box of slides. And I said, "Oh, there's the drawing." And she asked me to see it. So she's like looking at the slide, like holding it up in the light and looking at it. And she's like, "He looks really familiar. I think I know him." And she tried to turn around the slide to see his face. Like she tried to turn the slide around the other way to see the front of him. Oh my God, I laughed so hard.
Grandpa had a name for that.
Oh, and that's a couple of really old drawings that I did that I just scanned onto the computer from the prints. And that's a really old drawing that I did. And that one's also another really old drawing of 3 does bounding through the wheat field. Yep, that's that drawing again. And that's another old drawing. And that one was charcoal. I love, every time I do draft horses or any horses in the parade like that are all harnessed up pulling a wagon, it's like every time I do one, I swear that I will never do another one as long as I live, because all that tack takes forever to draw. And then, then I'll be sitting at a parade or something and it's like, "Ooh, draft horses." And I do another one. But they always take me a long time. And by the time I'm done with them, I always swear I'll never do another one. And that's the drawing that Bob won when I did my first giveaway.
Oh, yeah.
So Bob has that one. It's an osprey.
Yeah.
And that was outside of Livingston, Montana. And I knew where about 4 different osprey nests were along the Yellowstone River. So I would always check them all the time for babies. And this one nest, I couldn't find them. And the babies weren't hatched yet. And I looked over and this osprey was sitting on the top of a telephone pole. One of the adults. And it was eating something. I don't know. You can see it there at its feet. I'm not sure what it was. It might have been a rabbit or something. But it was really cool to see them flying in with fish. But they will also eat rabbits and rodents and anything else they can catch.
Hold on, I'll show it real quick.
Okay. Let me go back up there and I'll highlight you. Hang on, let me get back into the stream.
No light on it.
Hold on, I'm going to make you big. Yeah, this was the very first drawing that I gave away, which was my first live stream that I did because I had to go live to give it away. And Bob won it.
I was at the Ark.
Yeah, you won it without being there because I did it by drawing names, like writing everybody's name in a hat and drawing a name. And I drew your name. And that was my first live stream, and I didn't have sound. So my mic didn't work. So I was like writing stuff on paper and holding it up, showing people as I drew it and stuff. But yeah, Bob won that one.
Sure did. Sure did. All right, you can take me down.
So this one is another wolf, and it's on bark paper, but it was a really, really dark piece of bark paper. And I was sitting there, I love the colors and stuff in the bark paper, but it was so dark. And I was trying to figure out, like, what in the world I could use this really dark piece of bark paper for. And it just came into my head like a wolf coming out of the shadows. So that's what I did, with a wolf coming out of the shadows. The title of the drawing is Out of the Shadows. Oh, gotta get back over to where I can go to the next one. Yeah, so that drawing's called Out of the Shadows. And a few people, I made a few, just like a handful of prints of this one and gave them away to the fish fam. So that was another giveaway. But it was the prints, not the original. The original I sold right away. And this one was a full sheet of bark paper. And it is a group of bighorn rams that were up on the hill in Yellowstone. And this, I know where to look for animals, where they're going to be, kind of. And I knew that these rams during the wintertime would hang out on this one hill a lot. So, and this is a group of them, and it took me forever and a day to do this. And it was on a full sheet. And it's called Playing with the Big Boys. And it was done in Conte crayon on bark paper. And the reason it's called Playing with the Big Boys is because that little guy in the front, it's like these are all the ones in the back are like mature, full-grown rams. And that little guy in the front that's just starting to get a little bit of curl to his horns is probably like maybe 2 years old. So I named it Playing with the Big Boys.
Probably hadn't been off the tip long.
Yep, he wasn't very old. But like I say, this was during the winter time because the rams always like hang out in groups of just the big rams will go way high up in the mountains over the winter and the summer. They'll stay up there in the summer too. And then in the fall, when rut season starts, they'll come back down and join the herds, which most of the herds will just have young rams and ewes and the new babies, and they'll be all in one herd. And then when it's breeding season, the big rams will come down out of the mountains and fight each other and stuff for the claim to the girls.
The right to make.
And this is charcoal on gray paper, and the paper is like, it was another one of my experimental papers. And for those who know horses, Arabians, they'll start out dark, and as they grow, a lot of them will turn to gray with speckles in them. So the mare was gray with speckles, and the colt this is like day 2. He's only like 2 days old. And I went to see them. Some friends raised and showed Arabians, and they told me they had a new colt, so I went over to see them. And the mare and colt were in this big corral, and this little colt was like showing off. As soon as I got up to the fence, he started showing off, and he was like running circles and kicking his legs up in the air, his back legs up in the air, and just totally showing off. And then when he went tired, of course, he went to Mama for protection and was standing there staring at me. But this drawing I did on the gray paper with the speckles just so that I could try to make the mare part of the background. So I used the speckles on the paper and just kind of tried to do her lighter and him fairly dark, so that basically what I attempted to do was make the mare the background. And I named it Mama's Boy.
Are you happy with the effect, how it turned out?
Yeah. Yep, there's always room for improvement, but mostly I was happy with it. And this is the drawing that I did for Josh of his father. Again, another photograph of it.
Oh, yeah.
And that one, Rack has this one. And this is 3 wood ducks with the female in the back. And I was sitting there, they were starting to climb up a bank out of the pond, behind the ponds behind them, and they were climbing up the bank. And the female kind of stuck her head out like, I see you. So it's kind of a different drawing when it comes to duck drawings, but it made me smile. So, and that's colored pencil on bark paper with this brown part right here, the light tan colors in the background. That's actually coffee stain. Like I took a paintbrush and like stained it with coffee. And Rack got that one.
Right.
And that's another commission. And that is the tree martin again. Oh, and that's a really old drawing of an ox that I did. Not a cow, an ox. When I was working at the grocery store, I had this lady come in one time and asked me for my help, and she had a recipe that she wanted to do that had oxtail in it, but she didn't want beef.
Yeah.
I mean, I was standing there, she told me that. She said she wanted an oxtail, but didn't want it to be beef. Now, how do you do that, Bob?
Didn't want it to be what?
She didn't want it to be beef. She didn't want beef, but she wanted an oxtail for the recipe, but she didn't want beef. I know. Oh. And this is a colored pencil of a bowl. And
I tried to make that.
huh?
Tried to make that be like, people that are allergic to wool can wear alpaca. They won't have the same allergy, but that's a whole different thing there. The beef.
Yeah. But this was just a big old bowl, and it was one of the early on when I first started using colored pencil. And I sprayed it with fixative. This is a lesson learned. I learned that if I'm going to do a colored pencil, that I'm going to spray it with fixative, I need to test it first. I take a blank piece of paper and scribble on it with the colors I'm going to use, and then spray it to see if the color changes. Because after I got this done, when I sprayed it with fixative, all these nice blues here turned pinkish purple. And that was like the color of the like USDA stamp that they stamp on meats. That's what color it was.
Oh, God.
And I was going to throw it away, but I showed it. I was doing a one-man art show in Bend, Oregon. And the gallery owner, when I was setting up the show, I had that one, but I hadn't framed it or anything because I was debating whether to throw it away or not. And I showed it to him, and he wanted it really bad, so I gave it to him. Oh, we don't need to show that one. And this is just a little boy at the rodeo sitting on the fence. Another really
What was
old
the-
drawing that I just scanned from a print.
What was the one you skipped?
A nude.
That's the one I didn't see the other night.
Yeah.
I missed
Okay, I'll go back and show you. You got like 5 seconds, okay?
it. I'm ready.
Right there.
That's a good nude, yeah. Okay.
And this was a rodeo clown that I did in Conte Crayon. And again, I had to scan it onto the computer, so the photo was pretty crap. And this one too is just an old one that I scanned onto the computer in charcoal. And that is a commission I did of someone's dog. You have this one too, don't you, Bob? The Sandhill Crane.
Yes.
And it is charcoal on bark paper. I love Sandhill Cranes. I got to do another drawing of a Sandhill Crane.
It was on the opposite wall from the other one we just looked at. Yeah.
And that is Sheena. And it's charcoal on bark paper. And another commission. And these are 2 little girls that my daughter Courtney was their nanny for about 5 or 6 years. And it's charcoal on piece of ivory bark paper. And it's just called Sisters. And I believe I gave a print. I had one print of this one because my daughter wanted to give the original to her bosses for Christmas. So that's what I did the drawing for her. And then she wanted prints to give like to their aunts and uncles and stuff. So I made some prints of it, and then I happened to have one left over that I gave away in one of my streams, and I don't remember. I think Maria got this one, but I don't remember for sure. She got the print of it anyway. The original went to the parents. And that is Brutus sleeping on a log. And this is a classic example of why I use the bark paper. Because of the colors, and the log itself is just got a few lines in it to show it's Conte Crayon.
Yeah.
But there's just a few lines to show the direction that the wood went and stuff, but all the rest of it is the bark paper. And that's what I love about using the bark paper.
You got a whole bunch of comments, like 35 comments. You better go catch
Oh,
up.
I better go catch up.
Bunny, which snake are you
Oh,
talking
hi,
about?
Steve. Bunny Viper says, "How's my snake? I think you should name it Bunny."
All right.
And I can't tell because it's. Oh my God! You didn't do that. Oh my God! Grasshopper took the nude to use for his profile picture. I'm gonna kick your ass, boy.
I thought he might do that.
I think I gave Bob a print of this one, didn't I, Bob?
Let's see.
I had a few prints of it made, and I think for
Yeah.
your Patreon deal, I gave you a print of that one.
Yeah. Yep, I got a bunch of them. The piebald. We tried to. I had it out earlier, Bunny, in the stream earlier today. It's doing great.
But you know what? We've been on for like 2 hours and 45 minutes or something like that. And I imagine people are getting pretty tired of looking at my artwork. Should we go another 15 minutes or should we call it good, guys? You let me know. Because we've been on for 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Yeah. I can hang a little bit longer. I've got to go at the arc in the morning though, so.
Okay, so what do people in the chat think? Do you want to see some more for a few minutes or no?
We Bunny demanded to see that nude. Did you see that?
What's that?
Bunny demanded to see the nude. Did you see that?
No.
She said, show that nude. Nothing wrong with it. Well, can't you prosecute Grasshopper for stealing your art?
Oh, I'll let it slide this time. But I'm going to kick his pants for using it for his avatar like that.
Oh, I guess he took it away again.
Yep, he took it away again. Do you want to see it, Bunny? I'll flip back to it real quick. Grasshopper, keep your hands off of it. It's not my best drawing. I don't really like it, which is why I don't really like to show it. Not because I'm ashamed of doing a nude, but because I don't like it. So, but I'll flip back to it real quick. Those back a ways. Hang on. I'll get there. There it is. Okay, Bunny, you see that? That's it.
How old were you there, Pam?
It wasn't me.
Oh, right.
And that is another really old one that I scanned onto the computer from a photo print. It was actually it turned out kind of cool. It was a horse that was in the parade, and he had a really, really old Spanish bit, which is why I did the drawings. I really liked he had a really old bit in his mouth. So,
how did you get him to stand still that long?
he was in the parade. I just took a photograph of him.
Oh.
And that's a commission that I did for some people that were, they had a horse ranch, and it actually shows all their training methods when they're like breaking a horse from beginning to fully trained.
Oh, the gear they're wearing.
Yeah, and it's a Conte crayon on bark paper. And the lady absolutely loved it when I got done. And that is
I know what the
flower.
I know what it is, but I can't think of it.
It's a paintbrush.
Oh, that wasn't what I thought it was.
Indian paintbrush.
Yeah.
It's a wildflower in Wyoming. And it's in it's a colored pencil. And there is some wild turkeys, and it is on a piece of handmade paper that one of my daughters made the paper. And she sent me I still have some pieces of different kinds, but I have one that's blue, and I'm thinking I'll do a fish on it, but it's like 8 by 10 pieces of handmade paper. But that's a couple of wild turkeys. Oh, that's that one again. There's another buffalo with her newborn calf. And that's a really, really, really old one scanned onto the computer. And that is a guy that was at the Wyoming State, or no, Massachusetts State Fair, and he was giving demonstrations. He was a old carpenter. And that one's called the Hazer. That was from the rodeo in the Dalles, and many years ago. And it was charcoal, and it's just an old photograph that was like a print that was scanned onto the computer, so you can't see it very well. But I love the angle of the horse on that one. You know, with its hooves up in the air and stuff. So, and Hazer is it's in calf roping. It's the person that rides alongside the calf, trying to keep it going in a straight line till the roper ropes it. And that's a little. They had a kids rodeo that was like, it was in the Dalles. Another one that was just scanned onto the computer, but that one was charcoal. And that is a coyote in the snow in Yellowstone National Park. And it's just a real simple little charcoal drawing that I did of a coyote walking through the snow. Because I went to Yellowstone a lot when it snowed. That was my favorite time of the year to go, because there's no tourists, but the roads get pretty snowy.
So I see the trail and the footsteps going out the trail, but up above that, in the snow, you can see that it's snow, not because it's white, but because there's some shadowing or depth or something in it.
Yeah, just a little bit of shadow and stuff. He also, when I was watching him, he stopped to take a leak, but I didn't draw that.
Yellow snow.
Yeah, he made some yellow snow. It was fun to watch him, but I never could quite catch it with my camera, but I'd see him sometimes like in the snow, and they would like be standing there with their ear cocked to the side and then like towards the snow, and they'd be listening, and what they were listening for was mice moving around underneath the snow and tunnels. And then you'd see them like dive up into the air and come down with their front feet, making a hole in the snow, trying to get the mouse, which they would be successful once in a while. But that was always fun to watch. And this is a friend of mine in the Dalles. He was quite a character. And that's another really old one that was just scanned onto the computer. And that's a pickup man, and that's a really old drawing, and it was from the Dalles Rodeo. That I ended up being really good friends with the people that put on the rodeo, that had all the rodeo stock and stuff, and all the bulls and all that kind of stuff, horses and bucking horses and stuff. And this was one of their nephews, so they bought the drawing from me.
Oh.
And that's just a calf roper, pretty awful drawing. Like I say, some of these are really old. This one's another really old one. And that is a guy that was at the Massachusetts State Fair. And he was giving he was actually demonstrating working with iron. But he went over to this lady's booth where she was demonstrating pottery, and he was flirting like mad with her. But that's why he's holding pottery.
No.
And this drawing ended up in a book. This one's in a book. That's was put out. That was, I think, the title of the book. I don't remember. I have a copy of the book too, but I don't remember what it's called. contemporary masters, and
He
they
was-
had like photographs of artwork from different artists, and then they'd have a biography of them and stuff. I have the book somewhere, but I'm not sure if it's in storage or if I have it on my bookshelf here.
Bunny's got a commission for you.
She does. Oh, I should go back and look at the chat again, huh? Draw me a half-naked cowboy wearing chaps and jeans. Okay, I'll do that. Oh, thank you. I was worried I was boring people, but Bunny is a rebel like me. Oh, and you know what? I should call it a night because it's just almost 11 o'clock here. So I have been streaming for almost 2.5 hours.
It was fun.
Well, I hope it wasn't too boring.
Not for me.
So I'm going to call it a night. And like I say, I'm going to try to work in a stream, I think sometime Friday night, to auction off a couple small pieces, because like I say, I'm almost out of water and stuff. And then Saturday night I'll auction off a few bigger pieces, I think, because I need to save up some money to pay for getting my snake set up. And plus rent's going to be coming up pretty quick too. So I'll probably do an auction on the stream Saturday night. But I'm going to try to work in one Friday night too. And sometime coming up soon, I'm still going to have a stream for members only. So, okay. Good night, everybody. Have a good weekend.
Good night.
We'll see you probably Friday night. Oh, it's not the weekend yet. Have a good week. Rest of your week. It's hump day.
Hump day.
Okay. Good night, everybody. Thanks for coming in.
Good night.
Thanks for putting up and watching me.